There are few things as universal to the human experience as looking up into the night sky to peer at the celestial bodies hovering above us. Regardless of where one might reside on the earth or what period in history it may be, the stars and planets have always been there to mystify and guide humanity's understanding of the cosmos. Whether using their alignment and movement to track time, inspire mythology, or even attempt to glimpse the future, the heavens have been the key to numerous forms of knowledge. This becomes even more true within the Warhammer world, where the tracking of the celestial bodies is directly tied to predicting the future and understanding one's own fate, perhaps even altering it. So let us dive into the astronomy and astrology of this strange world, with today's video focusing on the solar system in which it exists. Turning back the clock to over 15,000 years ago, the world, sometimes known as Malice or the Fated World, but for the sake of ease, I'll call it Malice going forward, careened through the darkness of space in orbit around the star known as Sol, which is significantly larger and hotter than Earth's sun. In ancient times, the planet spun quite far from the warm embrace of Sol, resulting in ice covering much of the surface, except for the equatorial band where primordial jungles thrived. Then, the Old Ones arrived upon their silver starships, these mysterious entities looking upon the pale blue dot and finding it full of promise to fulfill their grand designs. However, the solar system had been formed from the natural and chaotic process that shaped the entire cosmos, which required correction to suit the Great Plan. So, the Old Ones began their godly works and crafted the first of their servants, known to us as the Slann. Alongside their cold-blooded children, they performed the impossible and shifted the planet closer to the warm embrace of Sol. This initially unbalanced the other planets, but such was their power that the Old Ones moved them too. With this act, they created the perfect harmony of the spheres and their orbits around the sun. For the specifics of how the planets function after these adjustments, let us listen to Fenrir of Safari's wisdom, the very same Fenrir who crossed the great ocean to aid the old world during the Great War against Chaos alongside the noble mages Teclis and Yurtle. Before we get into today's video, if you enjoy listening to Warhammer Fantasy lore and learning about this wonderful setting, why not consider signing up for Audible? I have always recommended Gotrek and Felix as the perfect starting point for anyone wishing to delve into Warhammer, and Audible provides an amazing experience narrated by Jonathan Keeble. He gives an excellent performance, with numerous other books in the series awaiting you after finishing the first. By signing up with the link below, you'll receive a free credit you can use to begin your journey with Troll Slayer, and we'll be supporting the channel at the same time. So please consider signing up for Audible. Thank you. Now let's get back to the video.
They came in their silvery ships, impossibly powerful, mysterious. Then our world was frozen, huge and empty, and life was simple and barbaric. But they changed us. They changed everything. We only know them as the Old Ones. They had the power to move worlds to or from the eternal heat of Sol, which is how they brought our cold globe to life. But this unbalanced the other worlds, for everything is connected. So they moved them too, forming an impossible impossible harmony among the spheres, a perfection that can be seen to this day by observing the heavens. See the 5 children of Asurion. Carib, the closest world to the sun, takes 80 days to orbit, while Diamol takes 133 1/3 of days, Tigris 200, our world 400, and Virdra 800. Compare this to the 5 counselors of Asurion. Locratia takes 1,600 days to orbit, 4 of our years. Isharna, 10 years. Loikia, 30 years. Voelia, 150 years. And distant Obscuria takes 300 years to circumnavigate our sun. Even after so many millennia have passed, the harmony is a wonder beyond measure to behold and to comprehend.
While normally that would be the end of the knowledge held about the planets, the ancient civilization of the lizardmen have methods by which we can learn more. While the humans and elves must rely upon more traditional forms of observation when studying the universe, the children of the Old Ones possess advanced technology that, combined with their mastery over magic, allows them to see things in far more detail. Within the ruined observatory of Yetzel Cho in Lustria, there can be found a star chamber within the upper floor that contains a particular device. This creation, known as Sotek's Eye, is an array of the planets found within the solar system, which reveals the 10 planets in all their glory. This allows us to learn the following details about them. Starting closest to the sun, we have Cherub, which appears as a small, scorched world with no moons surrounding it, isolated in the void. Next is Deamol, which is known as the Burning World. It is said to be smaller than Cherub, ash gray in color, with orange lines stretched across its surface and sheathed within swirling clouds. It has a single moon. Next in line is Tigris, covered in deep blue and dark gray, with 2 moons orbiting it. Fourth in line from Sol is, of course, Malice, or the Fated Place, the Warhammer world itself, which in modern times has 2 moons. Then comes glorious Verda, a greenish world that has numerous continents visible upon its surface, with 1 moon orbiting it. That is the last of the children of Ashurin, the 5 closest planets, as we heard from Archmage Fenrir. Moving on to the outer planets in the system, dubbed by the elves as the Counselors of Ashurin, we have Locratia, possessing a deep red surface dotted with countless interlocking gray circles that are clearly meteor scars. It has 7 moons. The 6th planet is the colossal Isharna, a boiling mass of gas that flickers eerily as if containing bound flame, striped with red and orange. It is surrounded by 13 moons. Past the gas giant is Loekia, a world covered with beauteous purples and blues that drifts along through space with 6 moons in tow. The 7th world, Volia, appears a vibrant green with a planetary ring and possesses 14 moons. Finally, there is Obscuria, deathly pale in color, apart from 3 bruised smudges and a smattering of black pinpricks. It is utterly covered in ice. Obscuria is infamous for how difficult it is to detect, which has often led to astronomers debating whether it even exists. In truth, Obscuria is out there on the edge of the solar system, and even has a singular moon nearly as large as itself. Now that we've learned about the solar system, we can see how the old ones adjusted the planets to orbit along an exact schedule, even thousands of years after the setting of their current alignment. This didn't end with just the planets, but also extended to their moons. While we know nothing of the other planets' moons and their orbits, we do of course know much about those over Malus. Originally, the Warhammer world had a single moon, virtually identical to ours. Known as Mansalib by the humans of the old world, meaning beloved of Manan, who is the god of the sea, the true moon takes precisely 25 days to cycle through its phases from full moon to full moon. Not all celestial bodies are heavenly pieces in the Old One's great plan, however, as also orbiting around Malus is the eerie, smaller moon known as Morslib by mankind, meaning beloved of Mor, the god of death and dreams. The reason for this flaw is the same as all others in the design of those ancient beings: chaos. Morsalib is in truth made entirely of warpstone, the raw stuff of chaos compressed into physical matter, which corrupts and distorts everything around it. The Chaos Moon is infamous for its eerie surface due to appearing like an immense skull-like face, said to change in expression as if reacting to events taking place beneath its gaze. Chaos is, well, chaotic, and the Dark Moon embodies this property in the extreme, with its unpredictable and erratic orbit. It follows no rhyme or reason, appearing closer or further from the planet from night to night, and its phases violently shifting as if to spite any observers attempting to chart it. There is more to explore with the lunar spheres, but they deserve a focus video of their own. This will conclude the first video in a series focusing on the astronomy and astrology of Warhammer Fantasy. I hope you all enjoyed this initial video on the solar system, and will join me again soon for part 2, where we shall turn our attention to the stars and constellations even further beyond. Thank you all for listening. I would like to take a brief moment to thank Varink Voiceover for his contribution to this video by providing the voice of the Elven Archmage Fenrir. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel and check out his other work. He's a delight to work with and is actually featured on this channel before in a different lore video. If you haven't already, why not go check that out?